It's a mundane evening, so we're going to try to get it exciting. How's it going, Cupcake? How's it going, Thighs? How's it going, Ring Fit? What's up, Drano Max? Ron, Felicia Fancy Bottom, Felicia, and everybody else that's here today. Thanks for hanging, guys. Oh, I think Dorkfather's in here too. I think I saw him pop in. But all right, fine. Drano's here to defend AI Alicia. So MGC, right? Midwest Gaming Classic. It's the Wisconsin's biggest convention of the year. I guess maybe it's not the biggest of the year. There's one other show that might be a little bit bigger. But anyway, regardless, oh, please don't flatter yourself by thinking I was talking about you, Joshua Turbo. Let's be real. We all know this stream isn't exactly the most exciting thing happening in our lives right now. The quotes around that for? Who's controlling AI Alicia? Yeah. The real question should be whether or not you can keep up with my wit and sarcasm. Oh boy. So, yeah, right? It's funny. All right, so MGC last week. So she's very quick to respond to verbal cues. Yeah, oh boy, because sarcasm is so great. Superstar would be losing it. I know, right? MGC was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. A few of us were able to be there. Felicia Fancy Bottoms and Ring Fit Runner were there. So was Xavier Mike Hills. It was a blast. I could talk about it forever. A couple things that I wanted to share tonight was some things that we wound up picking up during the event itself. I didn't spend a ton of money at the convention, but I probably spent more at MGC this year than I was expecting to, and more than I've spent in years. Honestly, I don't really think I've grabbed a lot of stuff at any conventions lately, but this year a couple freaking stars aligned, and I just felt like it was a good time to grab a couple things. And also, the area that I was running, actually ran two different areas in the convention itself, a part of the museum itself, and then Turbo Fest, which was in the Guys, Games, and Beer room, which was awesome. So in the Turbo Fest room, there was 7 TurboGrafx consoles set up. It was a blast. Tons of people came in and played. The overall convention had over 20,000 guests this year. Fucking amazing. And from what I heard from the Guys, Games, and Beer booth is that people would walk in and look directly for the Turbo Fest stuff. So it was a success. We're looking to do it again next year. Major success. Like, it was a super, super fucking cool event. The museum itself, we had a 250 game console set up. I brought 20, just shy of 20. It was actually 18. Holy fuck. There's a lot of lightning outside. It's like some heat lightning or something. So that's exciting. Yeah, so I brought everything from like 3DO to, 3DO, PC Engines, Wii U, Ouya, Xbox 360, playing Rock Band was there. I don't know, an assortment of other things. I had a Famicom, a Super Famicom, I mean, and a couple other consoles and stuff. So it was just had a couple systems, but I was able to fit everything in the back of my new Kia Sorento, so that rocked. It was perfect. Everything fit really well. Ring Fit Runner had to bring a TV home because I forgot it. I know. Dude, the car was so packed that Felicia had to. Impressive list of consoles he owns, but we all know it's not about how many toys you have, right? Wow. Felicia Fancy Bottoms. We were packed so tight that he had to like have his freaking suitcase in his lap and a laptop between his legs, and it was insane. We were stuffed so packed so tight that on the way back down, even though we purchased a few things, we also like unloaded a couple things. I donated a TV, a couple TVs in the museum area, and we just freed up space. It was great. And we also consolidated a couple things down. So by the end, I actually had a couple boxes that were empty, and so we just wound up throwing like stuff that we bought in them. So as far as things that I got, awesome event. Really, really good. The vendors were awesome this year. So I grabbed a few things, nothing major. I guess the big thing that I got this year, and I can hold up the box. I have the console itself actually in my living room because I'm going to use it as my main system. Now, this is not the first time I've owned this. Weirdly, in the past, I actually had it a long time ago when it first was introduced. Was not the biggest fan of it, but then they had a firmware update, and then it made everything better. And so the limited release of the Super SD System 3 card, which now has all the new firmware stuff on it. It takes micro SD cards all the way up to 256 gigs. And what this does is it basically loads up TurboGrafx games, Turbo CD games, Super CD games, arcade card games, and including Super Graphics games onto a little compartment that you can connect to the back of your console. So this is the basically it takes the place of where the CD-ROM would go, and it's awesome. Like you can just load it up with as many games as you can fit in 256 gigs, which is probably pretty close to the entire library. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it is the entire library. Actually, that's not true. There's like how many games? There's like 300 or 400 CD-ROM games that came out in Japan. So most of those I won't be able to. Alicia's sequins got squished on the whole coat, and the whole coat color was changed to green. It was such a tight squeeze. It was a tight squeeze. Yeah. So this is an awesome little thing. I paid $300 for this, and then he gave me a good deal on a PC Engine Core Graphics 2. So the Core Graphics 2 goes along with this, and then we wound up. Luckily enough, since I do run the museum stuff, I was able to connect it right away and test it all out, and it worked perfect. So big deal, awesome new setup that I'll have for what I think at this point in time, ridiculously, is the 8th TurboGrafx and or PC Engine setup that I have. That's a little much. That's not great. I don't feel great about it, but also like it's a different variety of PC Engine that I have. I think the only thing that's left now. You talking? Hey, Alicia, good grief. Well. Looks like Joshua Turbo can't resist showing off his game collection again. Let's hope he doesn't start talking about it nonstop. Matter of fact, the whole stream tonight is going to be all about this game collection. I'm going to just talk about my game collection all night long. So if you can't handle that, go ahead and just leave, AI Alicia. That'd be great. So anyway, this setup along with the PC Engine Core Graphics 2 is a new setup. So Core Graphics 1, Core Graphics 1, Core Graphics 2, a TurboGrafx. Watch out the asterisks. Watch out the asterisks. And then a PCFX, PC Engine 1. Oh, man. Oh, and the mini TurboGrafx. So, all right. What else did we grab? This one's a really crazy thing. This one I was actually not expecting to get, but there was an entire booth full of Atari Jaguar games, and so I grabbed Asteroid. Now, Asteroid is a homebrew Jag game that is a lot in the same vein as like Metroid or Super Metroid. So it's like a Metroid game that came out of the Jag. I've heard really good reviews on it. I watched some gameplay of it. It actually looked really fun, and I actually never saw it in person, and they brought 2 copies with them to the convention. So I'm like, fuck, I'll grab this. This was $69. The SD-ROM System 3 was $300. So I thought that was really cool. And then when I walked by later, they were all gone. So I'm glad I grabbed them. Then, crazy enough, my good friend Blue BMW was giving away games. He had a free bin, and I grabbed a bunch of stuff. Excited to have Kingdom Hearts 2 on the PlayStation 2. So it's the original version of Kingdom Hearts 2. Now I have Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. And then Rechain of Memories. I've never played this before. I have no idea what it's about. I don't know if it's like a port of the PSP game or whatever, but got that. And then from that same fellow, our good friend Blue BMW, I got the CD. It's a loose CD, but it is a fucking amazing game. It's Lunar 2 Eternal Blue on the Sega CD, which is like the most amazing version of Lunar and Lunar 2. And then crazy enough, frickin' Wind Waker on the Nintendo GameCube. Metroid Prime 2 Echoes on the GameCube. Interestingly, has Disc 1 and Disc 2, so it's Metroid Prime 1 and Prime 2. So that means I have Prime 1, Prime 2 on the GameCube, and then Prime 3 on the Wii. The Wii. And then, but wait, there's more. I know, right? I really did. It does seem like I spent more than I should have. But I really didn't. Then I grabbed Parodius on the Game Boy, a Japanese Game Boy Parodius game. Never came out in the US, but it was a big deal in Japan. And this one I've never owned or played before, so I thought really cool. It was like $8. This one is Bomberman Game Boy. The original Bomberman Game Boy came out in Japan. I'm pretty sure it did come out in the US as well, but this was $15. And then I gave my good friend Esteban this game. Hey, Alicia, go away. None of my games collect dust because I run 3 different game conventions. I don't know why I'm taking offense to this. It's a fucking bot. Anyway, so sassy. Super Mario Land 2, the 6 golden rings. This is a game that I actually gave away to a friend for Christmas. That's actually the one. Jesus. Yeah, I think I'm going to talk to Yo Bobby. Why am I the target this time? Usually it like attacks like other people. Anyway, 6 golden coins, Super Mario Land 2. I gave this to Esteban for Christmas last year. So I wanted to get it back. And then I've got the Game Boy player, which is hilariously like was that a threat? My threat to tell the creator of this bot to take it back? Maybe. Although it usually does make our chats more entertaining. But weirdly, I was planning on, yeah, there's threats. Threats, intent, the bot is too smart. All right. So, that's it for new games, I think. And then the last thing I grabbed was Valhalla. This is a game that I had played in the stream last year. And this is its entire soundtrack. Shocked at how bright. No, right? I mean, I can't really do anything right tonight, which is funny because it's supposed to be all about engaging with the audience. And yeah, it's really pretty, actually. The art on it is amazing. We'll start from the 5th one. Whoop. There's 5 different records here. And yeah, it's like pretty freaking awesome. We played through this game last year, was it mid to late summer? And like it's a digital novel style cyberpunk adventure bartending simulator. It's got a lot going on, but the characters and stuff, you get to know them all. Yeah, it was fun. It took me, I think, 11 streams, which at the time felt like a very long time I played this game. But actually, 11 streams isn't really that long anymore since we spent, I don't remember how many streams playing Shining in the Darkness. That took us, God, what, 22 streams? I just know I played it close to 40 hours, so yeah, it was nuts. But that was really fun. There are other games that are similar to it that I'd like to get into. Matter of fact, we played Tokimeki. What the hell? Tokimeki Memorial? Yeah, Tokimeki Memorial last year as well, and that was a lot of fun. Ah, sugar. What is going on here? Oh, goody. Oh, goody. Man, I'm fucking this whole thing up. All right. Okay. But yes, that was a fun stream, and it was really good. So I'm excited to listen to all of this. Anybody was into that game and the soundtrack, because it was a lot of fun too. Because you could, you'd go to once you started the day, you could kind of go to the jukebox and you could pick songs. Seems like I need more time in bartending school. That's probably true. I did, because I spent a lot of time just chatting with people. But yeah, it was a good game, and I think, Cupcake, she would remember it best because I think she was in every stream we did. But like, we would choose like what song to listen to for the day, and then we would sit and chat with people, all the patrons, and make drinks and everything. And then, as for the last big thing from MGC, I got an X68K. X68K Japanese computer. A shell. It's just an X68K computer shell. But still, it's pretty freaking cool. I've never owned anything for an X68K. I've always wanted to get into these. A shell itself usually goes for around $100 on eBay. I got this for free, which is awesome. But the computers themselves go for close to $1,000 to $2,000, depending on what updates they have. So this X68K was at the time, the late 80s, early 90s, was the number one PC in Japan. So like tons of huge games. Matter of fact, the X68K was what Capcom developed Street Fighter 2 on. So you got to think it's got about the power of a CPS2, I think is what they called it, or a CP2. The arcade architecture that they built, Street Fighter 2, Final Fight, the versions that were on this computer in Japan are arcade perfect. And so that's about how powerful that computer can do. And while that's not necessarily anything super impressive compared to what we have nowadays on computers, it's going to be a fun little project because I can kind of piece together bits and pieces of this computer over the next couple years, and I'm not spending, $2,500 on this computer. At least I hope not. But what I'm hoping to do is buy a couple parts here and there. And the gentleman who gave me the case said he's got extra parts at home too, that he'd be able to donate and throw me for inexpensive prices, or we could find a couple broken systems on eBay or Yahoo auctions in Japan, which is still a huge way to buy game stuff in Japan, is Yahoo auctions, bizarrely. But like, do you remember Yahoo auctions? It's huge in Japan still. But yes, that's exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be a puzzle that I put together, and then maybe someday at LinkCon, EverCon, or maybe even MGC, we'll have one. Although hilariously, we don't really have any shortcomings, shortness of X68Ks, because I believe there were 3 X68Ks at MGC in the museum, because it's just so freaking. Wow. Coming from you, Alicia, that's actually kind of spooky. Bring the bar straight to your viewers, and I hope that computer doesn't assemble itself into Skynet. Ooh. That's creepy AF. But, yeah, so cool. This is a big one. Oh, I actually do have a couple other goodies here, but they are mostly goodies as souvenirs for kids. And I'm going to save that for that because t-shirts and video games and other things. It could be. It could be like building an old car. That's kind of what I'm going for there, but I don't know if it's raining out. Exactly. It'll be like rebuilding a classic car. And the thing is I don't know anything about the architecture of it. I don't know anything about. I do know how to build a PC to some extent, but this is going to be like a wild adventure because it does come with floppy disk drives still. See these slots right here? Like that's traditional floppies are going to go in there. So yeah. The only cool thing too, another cool thing about it too, is you can have games boot straight from a hard drive. And so therefore you'll be able to connect it to like put a 250 gig hard drive in it and just load it up with games. And so that's probably the more popular way to do it nowadays. And like Konami supported it a whole bunch then. Capcom did. There's like 1,000 games that came out for it. And eventually over time, I mean, if it all comes together. Yeah, it's it's thundering and lightning out. I don't know if you see like flickering coming from this side at all, but it's really going crazy. So yay, thunderstorm. Let's play on the internet. But anyway, but I digress. Well, 10 p.m. But hey, let's just jump into Katana Zero. Unless anybody has any other anything else they want to talk about. Ring Fit was at MGC. What were your thoughts about MGC overall? Yeah, like I was saying though, just one last note about it from me at least. We between everybody that was there. Expect the storm to arrive here any minute. Oof, yikes. Between everybody that came, and this is a good friend. So like in the EverCon world, Jacob and I, we own it. We run parts of it with a group of other guys. Zach is one of those people that have been at every EverCon ever. I finally got him to come to an MGC. Matter of fact, I don't even think I'm the reason he came. It's because I invited Dan and Christopher to EverCon, and MGC had a booth at EverCon, and they are the ones who interacted with Zach, and Zach just loved it. He was so excited about participating in MGC, and then afterwards he had said straight up like it was an amazing experience and he can't wait to do it again. So that's huge news for all of us. Zach and Jacob and myself, Meng, who's sometimes in this chat, and then Matt Zimmerman, who's, I shouldn't say his whole name, but whatever, who is sometimes in this chat too. All of us were here, and then a couple people. Heck yeah, man. That is super cool. That's right. Yeah, you got a PlayStation Classic too. It looks like you're all set for a nostalgic evening in gaming as long as the computer doesn't awaken to become Skynet. Good God. That's hilarious. Now Alicia is being nicer, but yeah, that's super cool that you rearranged your apartment to show off the new art. Dude, I'm stoked to see how that all looks in your room. It's going to be awesome. But yeah, we all got something cool. It was like setup was really fun because Jacob and I hung out almost the entire time. He's improving. And I bought your car for you pretty much so you could buy that album. Got to hang out with you, Zach, Felicia, and Superstar. Great first experience. Yeah, it was a blast. It was so fun. Yeah, I think that one of my highlights would definitely be Ring Fit Runner, Felicia, and myself. We sat down and we played Final Fight from beginning to end on a true Capcom CP2 board. Like, I'd never played Final Fight from beginning to end, ever, in any capacity. Not the Super Nintendo version, not on arcades, not anything. And so we sat down and played it. We played a modified version. It was like a little more hardcore with funnier character names and some, what was like sprite swaps of like clothing and stuff. There was like modded clothing and stuff for certain characters. And dude, it was so fun. Like, it was just so fun. And which is really funny because, holy shit, is it storming out? Which is really funny because the three of us have also played a lot of Streets of Rage 4 on PlayStation lately. So we're like becoming this kind of like brawler, beat 'em up trio here between Ring Fit and Felicia and myself. So that was actually really cool. And those joysticks were amazing. So yeah, we did that, playing arcade games, playing pinball. We played pinball a whole bunch one night. And it was a blast. It was really good. Setup was easy. Teardown was easy. We were home before midnight. Like, you couldn't have asked for a more complete, perfect convention. Like, everything kind of went as planned, and it was better. It was better than that because you always have these fears and stuff. I remember one thing that sort of went wrong that Felicia can comment on, but and Zach could too, but Zach's not in the chat. But like, I completely forgot to bring a Sega Dreamcast. I had everything. I had games for it. I had every other console. I had every other controller. I also forgot. I could think of the things I forgot easier than I could think of the things I brought. But I like double, triple, quadruple checked all the lists and everything. But somehow an entire container containing a Dreamcast, 4 controllers, and all the hookups. Oh man, the Skywalk was fucked up. I could talk about the Skywalk. That was fun. Does Ring Fit even know about this? I don't remember if we talked about the Skywalk. Okay, here's a Skywalk story for you. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jacob, but like, we tore down all of TurboFest first. The convention itself stops at 5, but people can start tearing down between 3 and 4, maybe a little bit closer to 5. If things are dead and nobody's even touching, certain things, then, feel free. And I told this guy named Tom, or Ska Boy, I think is what he goes by, in the guys' games and beer room, I said the first thing I'd like to do is tear down TurboFest first. And then that way I can go back and concentrate on the museum after that, and then we'll get out of your hair. Like, throughout the day, I'll take a TV down or a console down, and we'll just, like, get it kind of whittled down to one table from 2, and then from one table to just one TV, and, kind of like just, make it disappear slowly but surely as the day goes on. Stable bridges. Ooh, no, it did not. It did not involve unstable bridges. But it did involve us. So for whatever reason, they closed the Skywalk at 5:30. And I'm not sure why. No idea why. But it became everybody else's problems way more than it was ours. And here's why. One thing we did is we tore down TurboFest first. So I actually had it all torn down and packed in my car before 5 p.m. Amazingly. I think I pulled a couple TVs down here and there, and by the time it was time to tear down the rest of it, there was only 4 TVs left. We brought a cart into the guys' games and beer room, took all the TVs off, took the consoles off, packed them away, threw them in there, and we took it to my car. I think we had that done by maybe 4:30. We brought the cart back to the museum area, and then we started to kind of tear down the museum area a little bit slowly, but we couldn't move anything out of there until 5. So we were just kind of pulling things off, whatever. We had a second load that was going to my car, which was basically everything except for a couple small little containers that I think we were going to do at the end and just carry out by hand. So we had another cart and loaded up, and we took it to the Skywalk. When we got to the Skywalk, the doors were closed because at that point it was 5:30. It was like 5:31 or something. And there was a security guard there, and we said, hey, trying to get through to the Skywalk to get to the hotel. And she's like, oh, yeah, sure, no problem. She opens the door for us, and she says, hey, if there's nobody on the other side, I was just shaking. Like that thunder. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it was like, that was a boom. It's crazy. It's like I got 6 feet of snow in my yard, and it's fucking raining and thundering out. Anyway, so we get to the other side. She says, if you get to the other side of the Skywalk and there's no one there, you just pick up the phone and say, hey, we're trying to get through again. And they'll say, sure. And they'll unlock the door and let you through. And so I said, okay, that's fine. Whatever. It's a little weird, but okay. Because I said there's going to be a whole lot of other carts coming behind us. So, because everybody was listening to that. I wouldn't have been able to fit a Dreamcast in there. True. So, yeah, you better be careful, Cupcake, because you're only, 20 minutes north of Merrill. Right. So, okay, we get to the other side of the Skywalk. We go through because the only reason you'd need to have somebody open the door for you is to get into the Skywalk. So we walked through, got to the car, dropped everything off. So we're like, boom. We consolidated things down. We donated 2 TVs. It's a lot easier to pack it in this time. Nobody needs to hold anything on their laps. We're good to go. So we come back through, and we get to the Skywalk up on top, and now at this point it's probably, 5:45, I guess, because it took us about 10, 15 minutes to get to the car and back. And we call that number, and on the other side there's a guy. He's like, hey, this is security. And I said, hey, we have this empty cart. We want to get back through the Skywalk to get to the convention center. And he says, safe and sorry, and stay out of harm's way. He says, I'm sorry, but we're not able to open the Skywalk tonight. And I said, why is that? And he said, but because by order of the convention, it is closed for the evening. And I said, well, what do you expect me to do with this cart? I've got this empty cart. And he says, sir, you're going to have to go downstairs and leave through the entrance of the hotel and go in through the entrance of the convention center. And I said, that's going to probably take us 15 to 20 minutes because the elevators are incredibly busy. And we had to wait almost 5-10 minutes just for the elevator to come up to get us. So I'm like, why would we need to do that when you can just open the Skywalk right here and we'll get across? It would take 10 seconds versus 15 to 20 minutes. Like, this is ridiculous. We're tearing down tonight. Like, I need to get through the Skywalk. There's tons of other people that need to get through the Skywalk. And he says, I'm sorry, sir, but you have to do it this way. Yeah, there were stairs into the convention center. Yeah, 30 to 45 minutes at least, right? Other people did wind up taking a half an hour to do it. But anyway, so while I'm on the phone with this guy, and he's saying like, "Sir, I'm sorry, I can't help you. You got to do it. We're not going to be able to open the skywalk." Which I'm like, this is fucking stupid. Some people, a couple guys, come walking out of the skywalk from the skywalk to the outside. They pop the door open right in front of us. So as I'm on the phone, Jacob grabs the door, and I'm sitting here like, okay, so what do we need to do? And the guy on the other side says, "Sir, do not use the skywalk. Those two men that walked through, they should not have opened the door for you. Do not go through the skywalk, sir." And I said, "Do not go through the skywalk." And they said, "Do not go through the skywalk, sir." So just as I'm saying that, Jacob pushes the cart right into the skywalk. I say, "Okay," click, and then we walked in through the skywalk. Now, there's a little bit more details there to that story. I was very hesitant to just walk in because I didn't know. Just had a security guard say to me, "Sir, do not walk through the skywalk." But as I stood there holding the door, I'm like, what's going to happen? And then Jacob walks through, and I'm like, fuck it. So I just closed the door. We walked in, we walked out. We're giggling about all these security people that should be tackling us and knocking us over and arresting us and who knows what else. I would have guessed they'd just yell at us. But we walked back through with that empty cart and got to the convention center and then finished up cleaning up. At that point, it was, 6:15, 6:30 maybe. We stayed until 7:30, helped tear down more TVs and stuff. And at this point in time, from what I understand, everybody else is back home. The entire museum crew got home. I talked to Jeff. I talked to Maddie. I talked to Beamer, like a lot of those guys. And they all said teardown was super easy. A couple things that we could work on next year was the TV placement, I guess. But we didn't know because the moving company are the ones who took the TVs and dropped them off at the convention center. And I guess they wound up using carts that are labeled for specific TVs, and the TVs weren't even in the wrong. Some people just can't follow basic instructions, but hey, at least the cleanup got done. Yeah. So anyway, it was easy. It was a good cleanup. The cleanup was awesome. Convention itself was awesome. I think this year's felt way more like play and less like work. Whereas I would even say last year's MGC was a lot more work than play. But I think that had a lot to do with the fact that I had so many great people there. And so like between Felicia and Ring Fit Runner and Superstar Michaels and Meng and Matt and like everybody else there, it was great. And I hope next year even more people can come to experience it as well, because it is a blast. Thank you, Felicia. Thanks, Felicia. But yeah, we had a great time. See. Oh, got a message about something. It's like a Supreme Court. Oh my God, Dorkfather, you got to come. What's up, Glamonites? Oh my God, it's the Superstar. And the Dorkfather. Well, welcome to the stream, guys. Dorkfather, you definitely need to come next year. Yeah, I think you'd have a blast. I think you'd have a serious blast. But yeah, it is the Superstar Xavier Mike Heels. But anyway, I'm gonna grab myself a water, and I think Jacob and I were talking about this too. I think that people from our group that would have the most fun at EverCon would be Jacob, myself, Dorkfather, Ben, Brent, and Matt Pigeon. Like, you guys would have a blast. I even think Christian would like it too. I think he would stick to the first floor because there's thousands of gamers. It is fucking pouring outside. It is like a straight up downpour. And it is 34 degrees. It's supposed to turn into snow. This is disgusting. Thunder and lightning and downpouring rain right now. That's awesome. Just glad I don't have any windows open. But hey, let me grab a water real quick, and then we'll play some Katana Zero if everybody's cool with that. So intense. What does this mean? It's a double rainbow. It's supposed to turn to snow. Yeah, it's just that's what the weather update on the bottom ticker of my computer says, but I don't know. Goodness. AI Alicia remembers. That is one cool thing is that they're definitely like growing as the streams go on, both in confidence, cockiness, and like getting to know each other with all the rest of us. That's pretty cool.